In the commentary box by Charlie Butler-Henderson. Charlie, certainly some star talents on the grid for this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a very exciting race. Lots of slipstreaming, and it's a great feeder into, of course, the very well-known and famous Formula One, really. So these guys will be doing everything they can to progress up the levels, and this is a perfect stepping stone for that. So lots of slipstreaming, lots of overtaking, and maybe the odd little shunt or accident further back the paddock, I'm sure.
Well, we had a huge shunt here last year at this event for Ferdinand Habsburg, who starts on the second row of the grid for this race. He went several feet into the air during last year's race. He's fourth on the grid for this one. The current championship leader is back on row 3. That's Dorian Boccolacci from France. It was a very open and competitive opening weekend of the season for the championship over at Monza, where Dorian Boccolacci and Max de Forny, the Belgian, took a win each. And there is Lando Norris, great British hopeful for this one. He's qualified second fastest alongside Max de Forny, the pole sitter, for this opening race of the weekend here at Silverstone. Qualifying was held yesterday. So two Brits in the top 4 places, because Will Palmer, second son of Dr. Jonathan Palmer, the younger brother, of course, of Renault Formula One racer Jolion, is on the second row of the grid. There he is, the number 14 Race GP run car. Not long to go now until the start of this one. We have an interview with the pole sitter. Dakota is down there on the grid, and she is talking to pole sitter Max de Forny.
Max, will it be a pole position for you today, and will it be a great race?
I hope so. I'm going to try to do my best to be able to win the race today and take some good points for the championship, so I'm going to do my best to do it, and we'll see.
Good luck to you today.
So that is our pole sitter Max de Forny, the Belgian. I believe he's the son of Didier de Forny, who raced touring cars in Belgium a number of years ago. He starts alongside Lando Norris, the man who's doubling up with the BRDC Formula 3 Championship this year and having a cracking season there. Second row of Will Palmer and Ferdinand Habsburg. Then on the third row of the group, we've got the championship leader Dorian Boccolacci, and alongside him is the Force India junior Jehan Daruvala. He was well on the pace in the opening weekend of the championship, sits just 5 points down on Dorian Boccolacci in the point standings. Russian Nikita Troitsky, one of a number of Russians on the grid for this year's series, sits next in the points, 2 points down on Daruvala. Lando Norris in 4th place. The 4th row of the grid will see a newcomer to the championship for this season, Callan O'Keefe from South Africa in the JD Motorsport machine, and alongside him it will be Alex Gill, a graduate of Formula Renault BARC. 5th row of the grid is Julian Falqueiro, and alongside him Nikita Troitsky. Look for him coming through from the 5th row, the man who's 3rd in the championship. And on row 6, Australian James Allen and Robert Schwartzman, another of the Russians. Hugo de Sadelaire is next on the grid, the Swiss driver, along with Sasha Fenestras. Then we've got Vasily Romanov and Henrique Chavez. Bruno Baptista, who's yet to score in the championship this year, the Brazilian, racing for Fortec Motorsports, starts alongside Poland's Bartek Bereszki as the engines begin to fire into life. Nurses Isakian, another of the Russians, is next alongside Finlay Hutchison for Mark Burdett at Motorsport, the young Scot. Laurence Hoare and David Porcelli make up row 11. The final row of the grid is Denmark's Kasper Larsen, and there at the back the only female competitor, Julia Pankiewicz from Poland. So Charlie, a real eclectic entry, and any one of about a dozen potential winners, I'd say, on this grid. Yeah,
definitely. Like you said, a lot of Russians. We've got the pole, ironically, at the back of the grid, and obviously you've got pole position at the front of the grid with Max, who we've just seen being interviewed earlier on. Looking at the lap times as well, Max de Forny was a couple of tenths quicker than the P2 man of Josef, so it seems like he's got a pretty demanding lead from a qualifying lap time point of view. Let's see if we can have a close race with these guys at the front. But yeah, look at that grid, absolutely awesome, lots of new sponsors, new drivers joining the championship. But definitely a good starting point to get into Formula One.
One driver who has got some experience of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, I have to mention Finlay Hutchison, because he's raced here already this season to gain licence signatures for his first international season. He's only just out of karting, the Scottish youngster, and he's raced cars as diverse as a BMW 1 Series, a Caterham and an MG ZR in the opening weeks of the season to get those licence signatures. So it's Deforney and Norris on the front row, ahead of Will Palmer and Ferdinand Habsburg, the Austrian, on the second row. Third row is the championship leader Boccolacci and Jehan Daruvala in the Josef Kaufmann car. Then it's Callan O'Keefe from South Africa and Alex Gill on the fourth row of the grid. Fifth row is Julian Falcaro and Nikita Troitsky from Russia. The sixth row of the grid, Australia, James Allen, Russian, Robert Schwartzman. Row 7 of the grid is the Swiss, Hugo de Sadelaire, and another Frenchman, Sacha Fenestraz. Then we've got the 8th row of the grid, Vasily Romanov and Enrique Chavez from Portugal. Then we've got Bruno Baptista and Bartek Mireshki, the first of the two Poles on the grid. 10th row of the grid is Nerses Isakian and Finlay Hutchison, who we just mentioned. Laurence Hur from Germany and David Porcelli, the American, making his seasonal debut in the championship. And finally, Kasper Larsen from Denmark and Julia Pankiewicz from Poland at the back in the Adrian Valles run car, the former Super League Formula frontrunner. There is the other Adrian Valles car being driven by Nerses Isakian, the Russian.
Very important to get the tyres warm. That's what the drivers are doing, weaving around, trying to get as much heat into those tyres so they can set a very quick, fast first few laps of the race. The aim is to try and break away from your other fellow competitors and build a bit of a gap or a cushion or a pocket of air, as it were, of a lead, so that nobody can sort of use your car as a slipstream to then be overtaken throughout the race. So lots of weaving, lots of wheel spins, lots of braking as well, because the more they brake on the rolling up lap, they will be able to get some more temperature from the brakes then going into the tyres as well. So there'll be a lot of technique is going into this warm-up lap, and it is very, very important for them to do it right.
It's a long lap here at Silverstone, 5.9 kilometres. A lap taking around 2 minutes. We saw in the Blancpain Endurance cars earlier on. So we should get in this 25-minute race, I would say, around 12 or 13 laps out of this one.
Yeah, and looking at the lap times as well, they're pretty similar to the Blancpain GT cars, but you've got to remember, you know, when you see the Bentley and the various different cars out there, they're a lot bigger and they're slightly heavier than these very nimble, light, small Formula Renaults as well. Look at that, pretty much formation weaving there as well. They're sort of doing it all pretty much all together at the same time, synchronised.
Yes, it is a one-make championship, of course, this Formula Renault. All the cars powered by 2-litre Renault engines, and the big British hopeful starting on the second position on the grid, that is young Lando Norris. Ginetta Jr., then MSA Formula, now of course known as Formula 4, powered by Ford, and straight into BRDC Formula 3 and the Formula Renault North European Cup this season. A real star of British motorsport's future. One car coming into the pits there by the look of things.
That's not a good start.
Who is that? That's Norris.
That's
Lando Norris coming into the pits, so something's gone wrong already for front row man. We put the commentator's curse on him already, and the race hasn't even started yet.
Because you're a big fan of him, aren't you? So
I'm a big fan of all British drivers. So Will Palmer will now be the top Brit on the grid for this one, starting directly behind our pole sitter Max Deforney. The Belgian had a win in the second race at Monza. There were two completely different podiums at Monza the first weekend of the championship. So there's a gap on the outside of row 1, on the inside of row 1 I should say. Will Palmer and Ferdinand Habsburg fill the second row, then Boccolacci, the championship leader, and the Force India Formula 1 junior Jehan Daruvala fill row 3. Keep an eye on Callan O'Keefe, making his return to the championship here today. Last season the champion was Louis Delatraz, the Swiss driver. Okay, awaiting the last couple of cars to settle into position. The green flag is waved by the marshal at the back of the grid. 25 minutes of racing will commence when the red lights go out. They go out now, and away they go down towards Copse Corner for the first time. One car pretty slow away at the back, but it's the pole sitter Max Deforney who leads the way into Copse for the first time. Are they all going to get round? One or two cars running a bit wide over the curves. It looks like they have all made it round. It's Deforney who leads the way ahead of Palmer, and everybody else trying to be third behind them.
These two have broken away already. You see they've built a good 3 or 4 car lengths gap. Great start from Palmer and also Deforney from the front, the lonely front row.
So it's Max Deforny who leads the way as they come down the hanger straight for the first time. Looks like that's Boccolacci up into third place ahead of Ferdinand Habsburg. Jehan Daravala has dropped a couple of places. They start to overlap into Stowe Corner, almost going 3 wide. There's a little bit of contact. A little bit of carbon fibre went flying there off somebody's front wing. Couldn't quite identify who it was. They come through Vale and Club for the first time. It's Deforny with the lead, Palmer in second, Boccolacci is third. Then we have got Ferdinand Habsburg strung out behind them. Looks like it's the car of Callan O'Keefe in 5th position. There is Daravala. He's dropped a couple of places as they came off the line. Wait to see if Lando Norris has been able to rejoin as well. Somebody going across the runoff area in the background. We'll try and identify that in a moment as they head round the new infield loop for the first time. There's one of the Tech 1 Motorsport cars. That's the number 10 of Hugo de Sadelaire, the Swiss driver running in the midfield, perhaps looking to make a move here as they come down into Brooklands on the back of James Allen, the Australian. Allen will have the line for the left-hander at Brooklands, and he holds the place pretty close throughout the midfield then around this opening lap. It's Max Deforny and Will Palmer begin to pull away at the front of the field. Boccolacci in third place. They come across the line for the first time. 3/4 of a second is the lead for Deforny. Boccolacci in third. Then it's Habsburg. It's O'Keefe up into 5th place. Then it's Gill. Daravala down to 7th. And in 8th place it is Julian Falqueiro.
Another car, didn't quite see the number, but another car has lost the spot in the pits. So we've lost...
That's the number 21 car, which is Henrique Chavez, the Portuguese driver, has pulled into the pits at the end of lap 1. Lando Norris has not rejoined, so we've lost the front row man out of the race as the leaders head in single file around this second lap. Down the hanger straight into the daunting right-hander at Stowe Corner. Deforny from Palmer, Boccolacci, Habsburg, O'Keefe, Gill, Daravala, Falqueiro. Troitsky is 9th and James Allen in 10th place. Incidentally, the drivers showing with a red background to their number, they are rookies in the series. There is a prize for the top rookie each weekend. Side by side here coming into Vale.
Good move. That was done pretty much as they exited Maggots and Beckett's complex. So we got the toe down the straight, went around the outside because he had a lot more power and could slipstream the car in front, and then got it to actually stick on the inside of Vale Corner. So yeah, really good move, well judged by both drivers. Nice bit of clean driving there.
That was Kasper Larsen, the Danish driver, who started from the back row of the grid, getting past the 38 of David Porcelli, the American. They're fighting down towards the tail end of the field at the moment. That was a move for 19th position. Max Deforny then starting to pull away as they come down into Brooklands for the second time ahead of Will Palmer. Boccolacci in third place. It looks like it could be Daravala back up into 4th place. We'll check that as they come through towards the end of the lap. Bit of a lock-up there from somebody going into Brooklands. Leaders head out of Luffield for the second time, up towards the start-finish line. First 4 minutes of the race have gone. It's Deforny who leads the way by 1.7 seconds, gained a full second over Will Palmer on that previous lap. Habsburg is there in 4th place, then O'Keefe, Gill, Daravala, Falqueiro, Troitsky is 9th, and in 10th place is James Allen. That's your top 10 as they complete the second lap. There's that fight between Larsen and Porcelli further back. At the back of the field, that's Julia Pankiewicz, the Polish driver. As the leaders head through Maggots and Beckett's once again, the midfield starting to get just a little bit more strung out now in this first race of the weekend for the Formula Renault North European Cup. And look at the lead that Max Deforny has now. 1.7 seconds it was at the end of the lap. It's going to be much more than that this time. Will Palmer still there in second place, the former BRDC F4 champion. Boccolacci still there in third, being chased by Ferdinand Habsburg, the Austrian, in car 62 in 4th place. He's got the number 19 of South Africa's Callan O'Keefe for JD Motorsport going after him as they head down under the shadow of the wing up towards the right-hander at Abbey. Next in the order, the blue and white car there, that's Alex Gill, another of the Brits. Jehan Daravala in the Force India lookalike is next in the order, and he's got Russia's number 7, Nikita Troitsky, on his tail, the top rookie in this race.
what I love about single-seater racing is the fact that it's really, really close racing, and the fact that it's a one-make championship. So all of these cars are identical. All they have to change, or are allowed to change, are tyre pressures and the odd suspension settings. That's really it, just to suit different drivers and different tracks, really. So that's why we're seeing these cars nose to tail, unlike Formula One, for example, where you see two cars out the front and the rest are sort of the pack sort of squabbling around, really. So it really is good to see. But Will Palmer is a good 1 second. He's a second off every single lap to Deforney in P1. So yeah, just hasn't quite got the pace today, but the pole man and the race leader at the moment really is setting the pace. And yeah, no chance if he gets any problems with his car. Obviously Palmer will be able to catch him up, but he's looking very dominant at the moment.
Yes, Deforney gained another half second on that previous lap. 2.25 is now the lead for Max Deforney, looking at his second win of the season over Will Palmer. It's still Dorian Boccolacci there in third. There is the fifth place man, the number 19 of Callan O'Keefe. Missed the first round at Monza. Now closing up and trying to make a move perhaps on Ferdinand Habsburg as they come down the hanger straight towards the daunting fast right-hander at Stoke Corner. Habsburg moves to defend. Not going to get past there, Callan O'Keefe. They've started to pull away from Alex Gill in sixth position, who's under pressure from Jehan Daruvala in the Force India lookalike. The Force India F1 Junior. Habsburg still defending for fourth place, trying not to let Boccolacci get away. There is the battle further back between Gill and the Force India lookalike for 6th and 7th place. It looks like Daruvala may have got ahead there. Behind them it's the number 18, the number 16 rather, of Julian Falcaro.
That corner that we're just seeing there, just seeing the cars sort of snake through that fast right-hander, is a completely blind right-hand bend, because you can't really see past the corner, because you've got the pit wall and the wing and the new Formula One pits that have been built there. So it's a very blind, daunting corner. This corner as well is especially important. If you're slow out of that corner, you are slow all the way down the straight then. So it's really important for the drivers to sort of close up on each other through the complex, to then get in the toe, which is the slipstream, which we're seeing some of the cars doing now, and then be able to be sort of towed along, as it were, and hopefully see the lunge at Brooklands, which is the corner we're at now.
Hugo de Sadelaire coming under pressure from one of the Fortec cars. I think that's Vasily Romanov in the number 5 car, another of our Russians. Jehan Daruvala has indeed got ahead of Alex Gill. The leader has already gone through and he's now leading by 2.653 seconds. Max Deforney ahead of Will Palmer. Further 1.35 back is Boccolacci in third position. And Habsburg in fourth ahead of O'Keefe. No major changes up front so far, except for Daruvala regaining sixth position after a slightly slow start from Alex Gill. There is Gill trying to fend off Julian Falcaro in the number 16 car. Then a small gap back to, looks like James Allen next. Yes, he's got ahead of Nikita Troicki up into ninth position. Behind them in 11th place, just looking further back down the order, is the number 10 machine, which is de Sadelaire. Here comes the battle for fourth place into Vale. Habsburg holding off O'Keefe. There is Gill holding off Falcaro for 7th position. Palmer still staying clear of Boccolacci for that second place, but all the time allowing Max Deforney to get away at the front. The son of Didier Deforney, a regular in Belgian touring cars and the Bell Car series in the 1990s, normally in BMWs, and a very proud father, no doubt. So looking on today, a lock up there into the loop from Alex Gill in the number 27. That'll allow Julian Falcaro to close up a little, not close enough to take advantage though, as they clip a little bit of curb coming through the left-hander at Aintree, then down the Wellington straight towards Brooklands.
No moves done yet. It's quite a processional race at the moment. There's just the odd man in 10th place. He's making his way up at the moment. The number 7 car seems to be doing okay at the back there, moving up slowly. But look at that lead. That's a very demanding lead, and a commanding lead, should I say. Also, they've got to be careful of track limits as well. Watching them exiting Luffield corner, you must have 2 wheels on the track at any one time. So they're going wider there, using more road on the way into Copse Corner, trying to get as much flow through the corner as they possibly can, as we've got a bit battle a good little battle going on through the Maggots-Beckett's complex. These corners are nearly flat out. Lots of downforce with the rear wing and the front wing on these cars and the slick tyres. Are we going to see a move? Are we going to see them weaving around? Because the aim is to shake off the person that's trying to overtake you, really. But these two, there you go. So he's blocked him on the inside, made it really difficult for them. And then he's got to go around the outside if he is to pass, which he's trying to do. He is going around the outside of Stowe Corner. It's looking good.
I don't think Callan O'Keefe's going to get through there, though. He'll try again into Vale. He's all over the back of Ferdinand Habsburg, but the Austrian holds him off through Vale, then through the right-hander at Club. Meantime, Jehan Daruvala is closing right up on then the Indian as they go past the wing. Nikita Troicki must have had a problem on that last lap. He may have made a mistake. He's dropped down to 15th place as Max Deforny continues to pull away. Just under 14 minutes of this race to go for the Formula Renault 2-litre North European Cup. But what a shame we lost Nando Norris before the start of this one, because he'd be up there as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, that is a real shame, that. Obviously we don't know what's happened to him, but at the same time, what a waste of a pole P2. So this is going to be, we're definitely going to see some action between these two as they come down the straight into Brooklands corner.
That's Daruvala side by side with Callan O'Keefe, but he's on the wrong side for the left-hander, trying to keep up with him, but no, O'Keefe takes the line, will keep the inside line for Luffield. Now Daruvala will try again up the inside, there's contact, and up onto two wheels, and round goes Callan O'Keefe. The South African out of 5th place, left facing the wrong way on the exit of Luffield. Now, can he get the engine going again?
Yeah, he's still running.
He's going to get going again, I think, down in last place. And I think he's got a puncture as well on the right rear, so that will be Callan O'Keefe, I suspect, heading for the pits.
And looks like possible rear suspension damage as well. Or no, is he going to... Yeah, he's coming in the pits. Yeah, he's now realised. That was a sort of a half-hearted move. Something was bound to happen between those two. Here we go. So, does the cutback, so he makes him go deep into Brooklands, does the cutback. It's a bit of a half-hearted move.
Wallop.
Yeah, that's a tough one to call, really, to be honest with you. But unsighted and just clip the wheels. That's the only disadvantage to single-seaters. It's very easy to tangle up with each other. But yeah, real shame there. But good little battle though. It's good fun until it ended quite abruptly.
Yes, things just boiling over there for the South African Callan O'Keefe as the mechanics go to work to remove that right rear wheel. And as you say, Charlie, we don't know if there's any damage to the rear suspension on that machine, as well as the punctured tyre. They'll send Callan O'Keefe back out at the tail of the field. Meantime, Alex Gill still working hard to hold off Julien Falcaro in the RACE GP Enton machine, and he's being closed down by Australia's James Allen in car number 18 in turn. This is now the battle for 6th position. Deforny now leading by over 3 seconds, with Boccolacci in 3rd. And a retirement there, and off goes Gill and Falcaro. So what's happened there at the loop? Allen's gone past both of them. We just caught the tail end of them running wide, coming into Aintree there. They weave about as they head down into Brooklands, so I'm not sure what happened there.
They were just cleaning up their tyres, really, before they then entered the very fast left-hander of Brooklands, really. So they were just getting the little bits of stones and rubber and dirt, basically, that's pushed offline, that is the disused bit of track there. The advantage of Silverstone is there's plenty of runoff, but you know, you don't want to be doing that because the tyres are so sticky, they just pick up loads of dirt. So that's why they were doing a little bit of a weaving before the corner.
The gap seems to have stabilised between the two leaders. Yes, we see again. They just seem to follow each other off.
Yes, they did.
Gill went straight on, and Falcaro followed suit, and James Allen said, well, if you're going to go that way, I'll go through on the inside. Yeah,
I got pushed wide there last year in the wet race, and once you get on that grass or the green area, it does sort of pull you and make you go closer to the barrier. So yeah, they were lucky to have not spun there, but yeah, it's not good when you get on that sort of grass-crete area on that bit of circuit.
Will Palmer's gap to Max Deforny seems to have stabilised. 3.386 seconds last time through. Boccolacci still in 3rd ahead of Habsburg. Then Daruvala is now up to 5th ahead of Allen, Gill, Falcaro. De Sadelaire is 9th. And in 10th place is the number 5 car of Vasily Romanov, through from 15th on the grid. So he's going well.
Yeah, very well. So a lot of places gained there, definitely.
Leaders head out towards the loop once again. Is Alex Gill going to get the line right this time? Very experienced Formula Renault racer, previously competed in the Formula Renault BARC series in the UK, the Pro Tyre Formula Renault Series, as it's also been known after its sponsor. Hugo de Sadelaer is closing up on these two as well in 9th position. He managed to make it through the loop and out to Aintree in one piece this time. Gill actually pulls away a little bit on that lap there, going after James Allen, the Australian, up ahead of them now, and the gap has opened out to Jehan Daruvala ahead of them. There is Hugo de Sadelaer in the second of the Tech 1 racing cars.
So let me just point out as well that Palmer was struggling a little bit early on in at the beginning of the race now, but now he is doing pretty much identical lap times to our race leader. Also, seeing the cars weaving around then, trying to block each other. You can't weave more than about 2 times on the straight, so you can only go from one side to the other side of the straight, so you can't constantly weave to block the other driver. There is a certain rule to that in motorsport, and the Clark and the Corsons are taking that very, very seriously this year, so that drivers aren't deliberately making their car very wide and blatantly blocking other drivers, because it's not fair, and that's not how we pass people.
Well, this is Finlay Hutchison, the young Scot, fresh out of karting. His single-seater debut was in the first round at Monza. He's chasing after David Porcelli, and they're not far behind Kasper Larsen, the Danish driver. So a nice little battle going on towards the tail of the field here. This is the fight for 18th place as it stands at the moment. There is Finlay Hutchison. We said before the race began, he's raced in a Caterham here at Silverstone, a BMW 1 Series, and at Rockingham in an MG ZR as well, all to gain licence signatures to enable him to make his international debut this year. Black and white flag to somebody for disrespecting track limits. We haven't got a number on that at the moment, so we'll pick that up as soon as we do, as Hutchison tries to go around the outside at Vale of David Porcelli. I don't think he's going to do it. No, Porcelli, the American, holds him off in 19th position. Past the wing they go, the three of them together, down in 18th, 19th and 20th places. Just one car left running behind them, and that is Julia Pankovic, the Polish racer, as we pick up the midfield battle once again here at Silverstone.
It's great little battles going on throughout the field. As I said, one-make championships, does provide very, very close racing. But just looking there, nice tidy lines as they go through Copse Corner. Big gap then to Palmer, but the lap times are very, very consistent now. Our leader just done a 59.57, sorry, and was also set the fastest lap of the race, but he did that early on when the tyres were at their peak. They were at the right temperature and they were still nice and new. The more they get worn out, the slower the car gets. So it really is important to get a good lap time in and a nice, tidy, concise racing line and braking in the right places early on in the race.
Yes, the two leaders' lap times virtually identical, only a couple of tenths apart now, and the gap has stabilised at 3.5 seconds. There's a new leader in the rookie division as well, with that mistake earlier on for Troicki. It's now the number 3 of Robert Schwartzman for Josef Kaupmann Racing. Is in 11th place overall, leading the 11 of Sasha Fenestras for Tech 1 in 12th place. They're just under a second apart, those two. It's Stefani who leads by 3.5 seconds ahead of Palmer. Then it's Boccolacci still third ahead of Habsburg. Daruvala now on his own in 5th place ahead of Allen, Gill and Falcaro. Rounding out the top 10, de Sadelaer and Vasily Romanov in the number 5. Schwartzman 11th, then Fenestras and Bruno Baptista, who's yet to score points this season. He failed to score at Monza. Jehan Daruvala goes through in 5th position. There is James Allen. This is a good run by the Australian with 7.5 minutes to go in this first race of the weekend for the Formula Renault 2-litre North European Cup. Max Stefani has led all the way so far, looking for win number 2 for the season. Dorian Boccolacci, meanwhile, in 3rd place, looking to keep his championship leaders. Meantime, that's Julien Falcaro having a look, trying to get past Alex Gill. Less than a car length in it there as they head down into the double right-hander at Luffield. In behind them, it is Hugo de Sadelaer from Switzerland. Into Woodcote they come up towards the end of another lap. Less than 5 minutes to go now. The clock has started counting upwards instead of down as it was earlier, which means there's less than 5 minutes to go. So a little bit of confusion on the time front on our screens. With matters not for Max Deforny. He's got a lead of 3.889 seconds now. He increased his lead by nearly 4/10 on this previous lap, ahead of Will Palmer, the former BRDC F4 champion. Bokolacci is up there in third. The black and white flag has been shown to car number 7 of Nikita Troicki for disrespecting track limits, and also to car number 10, which is Hugo de Sadelaire. So they've been warned for track limits. They've gone over the curbs a little too much somewhere.
There's quite a few corners at Silverstone that can happen. So on the exit of Luffield, just before they start the new lap, coming out of Club Corners, we're coming into Vale now, which is a very, very tight left-hand bend with a massive big curb on the left-hand side. So the drivers will be staying well away from that. If you have a sprinkling of rain at any point this weekend, that corner there changes and completely changes really the whole aspect of the circuit, really. So you've got to be careful. That concrete wall is not forgiving. And if they get on the curbs, it's very, very slippery as well. So lots of flat areas, lots of runoff areas at Silverstone. And yes, track limits, we're going to be seeing that quite a lot on our screens over the next couple of days.
Enrique Chavez, until he has rejoined down in 22nd place, but Callan O'Keefe is out of the race following that collision with Jehan Daruvala earlier on. So the car damaged and he has pulled out of the race. As we race towards a conclusion, and there's just over 3 minutes to go. Now the clock has sorted itself out.
Reset itself, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Different time zone, reset itself.
Different time zone. Twilight zone, more like it sometimes at Silverstone. So Max Deforny continues to lead then. He's looking good for win number 2 of the season. As we watch further back in the pack, still Gill and Falcaro, nose to tail, fighting for 7th position. James Allen still ahead of them. There goes the Royal Blue Machine. Here's the 2nd and 3rd place pairing, throwing it through the Maggots Beckett's complex. Will Palmer holding off Dorian Bokolacci. Looks like he's going to hang on to his championship lead. It was 5 points up on Jehan Daruvala going into this round, but there is the light blue machine of Max Deforny heading for win number 2 for the season here at Silverstone, barring any disaster in the last couple of laps. 4th place, it is still Ferdinand Habsburg. His race has quieted down after his earlier battle. The black and white flag is now out to car number 5 of Vasily Romanov for a track limits warning. Still the top rookie in this race, Robert Schwartzman, in 11th position. 2nd and 3rd place fight heads through. How far behind is Habsburg? There he is, so he's starting to close in.
And Habsburg has done exactly the same lap time as our leader on that last lap, so his pace is clearly there, even though the pace has dropped off now. They're a good 2.5 seconds or so slower than they were at the beginning, and they haven't actually got that close to their qualifying time either, really. So they've got in the 1:57s in qualifying, but have only managed to get in the low 58s, more 1:58 seconds around this, like you said, 4 or 5 mile circuit at Silverstone, which is flat, fast, and also very challenging.
Speaking of lap times, Bokolacci last time round did his best lap of the race at 1:59.157, and he's challenging Will Palmer now for 2nd place. It looks like it is going to be last lap this time. There's only 1 minute 13 seconds left on the clock. Here comes Max Deforny. Through he goes. Just over a minute on the clock then, and here comes Dorian Bokolacci. The Frenchman is going to have a look as they go down towards Copse this time. He's trying to make a move on the inside, and he goes through. Good move by Dorian Bokolacci up into 2nd place. A straightforward pass there down the inside. That's been coming for around a lap. And now Will Palmer's going to try to fight back. Ferdinand Habsburg, rather, is closing in 4th place as well. Daruvala still 5th. James Allen rounding out the top 6. Great move there, Charlie, by Bokolacci for 2nd.
Yeah, that was a fantastic move as well. It's as if Palmer got caught napping, as it were, really, but his lap times have tailed off, but we've still got Habsburg as well, who's doing some stonkingly quick lap times as well. But yeah, great move to see that, and especially on the penultimate lap as well. It means that they are still pushing and fighting to the very bitter end of this quite a long Formula Renault race.
Well, we're on the final lap now, and there's less than half of it to go as they head out of club up towards the wing. Max Deforny has got this race in the bag, barring any major disaster on the last 4 or so corners. They're heading into the loop this time. Are we going to see Habsburg try and make a move for a podium? Here is the Belgian Max Deforny. Started from pole position He has led all the way and surely now heading for his second win of the season, but third place is not resolved yet. Ferdinand Habsburg closing up on Will Palmer. We could see a challenge in the last corner or two for third place. Can he outdrag him on the run down into Brooklands? There goes Deforney. Boccolacci in second place. Clock runs to 0 as they come down into Brooklands. Palmer defending for third position. They head round Brooklands corner for the final time. The leader coming out of Luffield and up towards the checkered flag. Max Deforney will win our first race of the weekend here at Silverstone. He takes his second win of the season in the Formula Renault North European Cup. Second will go to Boccolacci. Palmer will hang on just for third place, so a quarter of a second ahead of Ferdinand Habsburg. It'll be Jehan Daruvala in fifth position. James Allen will take sixth. Seventh, it's Alex Gill. Eighth place is Julian Falcaro. Ninth will go to Hugo de Sadelaer. And 10th is Vasily Romanov. The top rookie will be Robert Schwartzman in number 3. Next home it will be Bruno Baptista. Good drive from him. 13th place, Sasha Fenestras. 14th will be Troicki in number 7. Nikita Troicki dropping back after a mistake mid-race. 15th place goes to Nerses Isakian in number 24. 16th, it is the number 96 of Bartek Mireshki. Then we've got Laurens Hur in 77. Kasper Larsson holding off Finlay Hutchison. Rounding out the top 20, David Porcelli. And the final finisher will be Julia Pankovic. Great stuff there then. A dominant performance. Lights to flag for Max Deforney.
Still battles going on further back down the field. They haven't given up yet, have they?
No, this is supposed to be the slowing down lap, but Ferdinand Habsburg perhaps just wanting to prove a point there as they head past the wing on their, ostensibly their slowing down lap. But, they've certainly enjoyed themselves there. The checkered flag, of course, has gone out on this first Formula Renault race of the weekend, and a very good one indeed it was too, particularly for Max Deforney, the race winner. What a shame that Lando Norris wasn't up there to battle with the leaders as well. I'm sure he would have been a factor in the lead battle. Yeah,
definitely. So qualifying on the front row and then not even making, in theory, the end of the green flag lap where the drivers get a chance to warm their tyres, make sure that they do any last-minute preparations in the cockpit of the single-seater, the Formula Renault single-seater car. Yes, he'll be absolutely gutted, and just basically gave it away to our race winner.
So Deforney taking the win by 4.5 seconds in the end ahead of Boccolacci. Palmer slipping back to third, but holding off Habsburg by a couple of tenths. Daruvala fifth ahead of Allen and Gill, who held off Falcaro all the way. Hugo de Sadelaer in ninth ahead of Romanov. Top rookie Schwartzman and Baptista from 17th on the grid, rounding out the top 12. 13th place went to Fenestras ahead of Nikita Troicki. Then it was Isakian, Mireshki in 16th place. Laurens Hur from the penultimate row of the grid came in 17th. Kasper Larsson from towards the back of the grid was next ahead of Hutchison, Porcelli and Pankovic. Further back was Enrique Chavez, who rejoined after his earlier problems. Callan O'Keefe failing to finish after that collision, and Lando Norris failing to take the start.
So the driver's very, very physical as well, even though it's not obviously an endurance or a Grand Prix distance by any means, but it's very, very physical driving these cars. They have to wear a HANS device, which is that carbon sort of cage, as it were, that goes around your shoulders, and that restricts any damage to your neck if you do decide to have impact with each other or any of the scenery for that matter.
So the driver's just given a moment to recover then. Max Deforney clambers out of his number 33 R-Ace GP machine. He is elated. Second win of the season for Max. He'll head up to the podium.
Sponsored by Ticketmaster there, so yeah, just the ticket. A race win.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah, he's well happy.
Await our top three. There will be a presentation to the top rookie, Robert Schwartzman from Russia as well, finishing in 11th place. Just waiting for him to celebrate with the team there, R-Ace GP, the winning team. Second place going to Boccolacci for Tech 1 Racing, and RACE GP, a double celebration. Two of their drivers on the podium.
That's what you need. It's obviously the team to beat at the moment. So yeah, he's got a very nicely set up car, commanded the start. Really good start as well. He rocketed away from that pole position slot on the grid and just got his head down and gone on with it. Really interesting to find what happened with Palmer, because he slowly dropped that back, didn't he? The pace wasn't quite there really, and he sort of slipped into the clutches of the second place battle that took place between those two.
Well, we're now going to hear from our race winner, Max Deforny, down in the pit lane with Dakota.
Max, you've done it. Congratulations. What a dominant win.
Well, yeah, it was thank you. It was a very nice race. I mean, we started very well. We had a good first laps to get a big gap, and then after I managed the tires because we have slight problems with the tire wear here, and then just build up the gap in the last few laps again. So it was a really nice race, and it was a really great job by the team.
Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
So that is our race winner, Max Deforny. Takes his cap off, lets his hair down, quite literally, and we shall have a podium ceremony in just a minute as well, I'm sure. Racing for RACE GP, formerly known as ART Junior Team, that squad, very prevalent in single seaters across the board. We'll shortly have the drivers upstairs to receive their trophies, and we'll hear the national anthem of Belgium as well.
So let me give you the changes to the programme.
Highlights of that race, of course, Lando Norris missing from the grid. One car very slow away from the back. I think that was the Finlay Hutchison car who got the poor start there, but it was a clean first turn. Max Deforny pulling away from the start, and he never looked back from there. Will Palmer running in second place initially, with Boccolacci holding off Ferdinand Habsburg and Callan O'Keefe, with Alex Gill enjoying his early battle with the slower starting car of Jehan Daruvala. It looked as though the midfield were going to start to string out, but things eventually did close back up again. Alex Gill having an enjoyable race, holding off Julian Falcaro all the way further back in the midfield. Callan O'Keefe's race ended by contact with Jehan Daruvala, spinning him out of fifth place, rear suspension damage taking the South African out of competition. While a moment for both Alex Gill and Julian Falcaro allowed James Allen to go through at Aintree into sixth position. With a couple of laps remaining, Dorian Boccolacci finally saw his chance into Copse and dove through into second place. There was no way that he was going to catch the Belgian Max Deforny, starting from pole position and leading every single lap of that first Formula Renault North European Cup action of the weekend. Dominant victory for Max Deforny. We'll see him on the podium in a second. Drivers making their way to the podium then. Third place going to Will Palmer. Second place to Dorian Boccolacci. And the win going to Max Deforny. A lights to flag victory for Max Deforny for RACE GP. Leading rookie up there as well. And now the national anthem of Belgium. So the national anthem of Belgium plays out, and the trophies, firstly third place to be presented by Ralf Weishaupt, the head of Renault Motorsport Germany. That goes to our third place man, Will Palmer. Well done to Will. The second place trophy presented by Vera Hermann, the administration officer for Formula Renault NEC. That goes to Dorian Boccolacci, who will keep his championship lead Weishaupt will present the trophy to race winner Max Stefani. Well done indeed to the young Belgian. Trophy for the first place team will go to R-Ace GP, presented by Vera Herman as well. So well done indeed to R-Ace GP, their second win of the season as well. And top rookie Robert Schwartzman receives a trophy from Ralph Weishaupt as well. 11th place overall and his first rookie success. So the 4 drivers and R-Ace GP team boss will receive the photo call and the champagne celebration as well, following our first Formula Renault 2-litre NEC race of the weekend. The champagne flows. Congratulations, Max Stefani, our first race winner of the weekend.